Hi, welcome to the instructional video for week 9. Let's go over your objectives for this week. In this week for language objectives, we're going to skip adding a new one, and we're going to once again let you refocus on some of the language objectives that you've covered so far. So asking, answering why questions, using adjectives and descriptive words, things like that. Go back and revisit some of your child's favorite activities, work on new ones, or focus in on some of the objectives or the activities that your child had trouble with and you want to spend a little bit more time on. For our cognitive objective for this week, we're going to look at a brand new category of cognitive objectives called remembering. Remembering is the ability to retrieve or recall previously learned information. We have two different types of memory, short-term and long-term. We have activities in the curriculum for both of those. Objectives are going to include sometimes a combination of both of those and sometimes just focus in on one or the other. This week's objective for remembering is working with knowledge in short-term memory. So short-term memory is also called working memory, and it very much involves what your child needs in order to do the work of learning. Things like staying on task, remembering multi-step instructions, things of that nature. So children use short-term memory a tremendous amount in school. Other cognitive skills like sustained focus, critical thinking, or analyzing require your child to use short-term memory quite a bit. So working on this foundational skill will help them with many, many others. Let's talk about some different activities that you can incorporate this week to help practice this. So many games for young children involve working with short-term memory, like the game Memory, where you flip over the cards and try to match them and remember where previous cards were. Concentration, the game Packing a Suitcase, or Memory Palace. These are all games that involve short-term memory. Also, you can incorporate it into everyday life by, for instance, when you go to the store, give your child a list to remember. Tell them, start with maybe 3-4 things, whatever you think is a good challenge for your child. And ask them to remember this. This could be like, for instance, going to the grocery store and giving them a grocery list, or it could be different places that you need to go and run errands. So ask them to recall the list as you go. And then you can extend it. You can build this skill up over time by gradually giving them more and more items to remember. A slightly more advanced version of this for preschoolers is having them hold 2 or 3 letters at a time in their memory to spell a word. And if your child is not writing yet, which is to be expected at this age, it would be unusual for them to be proficient in writing letters. You can, do this with letter tiles or letter magnets. And for instance, have them spell out a 3-4 letter word and give them those letters 2 or 3 at a time. So for instance, if your child, you say that you're going to spell cat, you could give your child the first 2 letters at once, C-A, and they hold that in their short-term memory as they locate the different tiles and find them and place them. Or even if your child is more advanced, give them all 3. And this is something, again, you can start to use longer words and work your way up. But 2 or 3 letters is probably the most for this age that you'll be doing, and you can just practice different words as you go. For literacy objectives for this week, we're introducing the letter I, so another vowel, and those vowels they do tend to be the trickier ones. The short sound of I is I as in igloo, it's I, which is very close to the short E sound, which is like egg. So this might be one that you want to spend a little bit of additional time on practicing and really distinguishing those. A good habit to get into is maybe pulling out all of the vowel sounds and practicing them. So now you've got 3, A, E, and I, that you can practice together and sort of practicing all the vowel sounds as a group. Because they are some of the trickier ones. So you want to make sure you give ample practice for those vowel sounds, and especially to distinguish between ones that are very similar, like the E and the I sound. And don't forget to prompt your child to use those clue words. If they're having difficulty or they're confusing the sounds, really prompt them to think about the clue words before they make the sound. So when you ask them, what sound does E make? Prompt them to think about the clue word first. Think about egg, egg, and then they'll say egg, or even have them say the word first, egg. E says and then for I, igloo, igloo. And so using those clue words and really prompting your child to think about the word before they say the sound will help them to have more success with getting it right the first time, rather than them incorrectly saying the sound where then they're reinforcing that incorrect sound as they say it. Another thing to be mindful of as you're practicing the letter I is that sometimes a typed I looks very similar, if not identical, to a lowercase l. So don't forget, you can, if you run across that, or just be mindful of it as you point it out to your child, that sometimes they do look like that. Another literacy objective we have for this week is matches written and spoken words. So you'll be working on that. We have some activities. For instance, just even pointing to words as you read them helps your child do that, for them to recognize that this particular word is this when it's written, that the stop sign says stop, and every single stop sign says the same thing. For math, we have counting objects all the way up to 70, and also sorting and classifying objects according to 2 or more attributes. So not just, for instance, sorting by color, but maybe sorting by color and shape, or color and size. So 2 or more attributes this time. For fine motor skills, we have 1 spherical grasp activity, 1 bilateral hand coordination activity, 1 in-hand manipulation activity, and 1 hand-eye coordination activity. Then for social emotional objectives, under the category of self-management, we have adjusts behaviors appropriately in familiar settings with some reminders. They always need that support and help. And under social awareness, showing kindness or regard for other people or for other living things much of the time. It's a wonderful opportunity to pet a dog or grow a flower, or talk to your child about how we can show kindness to others. For our fun project for this week, I love physics projects with little kids, and people sometimes don't think about exploring physics with kids, but they're actually really naturally good at it. Children have been exploring physics since they were dropping their cup off of the high chair and watching us pick it up a million times. So children love physics, and physics projects with young children are incredibly fun. This week we're going to make a homemade marble run, so all of those cardboard paper towel holders I've been prompting you to save, this is the time to break those out and to really experiment with your child. This project involves so many different concepts, and children are such naturals at it. As you make your marble run and as your child adjusts it to make it work properly, to make the marble fall into the right place, it's tremendous fun. And it's something you can come back to later to work on other objectives. So I hope you have fun with this one. It should be a fantastic time.